With the Ghost of Yotei right around the corner, I thought it would be good timing for us to look back at its masterpiece of a predecessor, the Ghost of Tsushima. Spoiler warning, as with all of my videos. You been warned? Okay, let's get into it. Either you die a hero, or live long enough to see yourself become the villain. The Dark Knight, 2008. When I first heard this quote when I was in high school, I dismissed it as nonsense. I mostly thought of the war veterans of both past and present and thought, that's insulting and ungrateful to the heroes of this great nation. However, this quote returned to me when I completed Ghost of Tsushima. At its core, the Ghost of Tsushima is a what-if story. In the late 13th century, the Mongols launched two separate campaigns to take Japan via the Tsushima Bay, where the second was foiled by a massive hurricane that completely destroyed one of the greatest and largest naval fleets in history. This massive hurricane was attributed to Susanoo, the god of storms and brother to Amaterasu, the sun goddess and matriarch of the Shinto canon. This storm was called the Kamikaze. But what if Susanoo did not intervene? What if the ruthless legion of the Mongol army successfully docked into Tsushima, then subsequently smashed the unprepared samurai defenders? Our main character, Sakai Jin, barely survives this initial onslaught thanks to a thief named Yuna, who becomes instrumental in Jin taking on the mantle of Kurodo, or the Ghost. Jin takes on her philosophy of by enemies necessary by employing ambush, infiltration, and other unorthodox fighting tactics, true to his namesake, becoming a shadow person. Today, we would call that a ninja or shinobi. A little kanji lesson. Both ninja and shinobi both use the common kanji shino, to steal, which tells us what that was the original purpose. The idea of a professional class of thieves originates from Sun Tzu's The Art of War in China, specifically his chapter on espionage, which then made its way to Japan and later manifested itself in training manuals such as the Shoninki, better known as The True Path of the Ninja, written by Masatake Natori. Natori was a samurai lord who was either a sponsor of or was he himself a master of a school in ninjutsu, or thief techniques, literally taken from the kanji. He goes into detail about how and when to infiltrate castles, escape pursuers, and most importantly, not to fight a samurai on even grounds. Pull a couple quotes from the Shoninki. The first priority of the ninja is to win without fighting. The purpose of the ninja is to gather intelligence. Fighting almost guarantees that the ninja has failed. The samurai had respect for the ninja and their methods of deception, even though the concept of espionage contradicted the samurai's code. The samurai believed that the ninja's role was a necessity to safeguard the lords they served. But the question you must ask yourself then is, why? Why were ninja not encouraged to fight? Because samurai had been training, as we saw through the flashbacks of Jin's life. We saw from a very young age, when he was a boy, when his father was still alive, that he was training to become a warrior like his father before him. This is not unheard of in history, however. Centuries before, the Spartans had a very similar philosophy of training boys to become warriors of the state at a similar age. Ninja were peasants, and you could say that Yuna is a peasant herself. And so therefore fighting a professional warrior who is often fully armored and training from a very young age is a losing prospect. The text also says that to fight a samurai is one, you've already lost because you did not gather intelligence or carry out your mission, and when you lose to them, they're going to capture you and torture you. So therefore, it was in the best interest of a peasant trained only in thief techniques to escape by enemies necessary from a trained warrior, such as glass shard-filled bombs, improvised gardening tools, and legend has it, smoke bombs. If we accept the premise that Masatake Natori was both ninja master and samurai lord, players of the Ghost of Tsushima can clearly see the influence on Jin's path to save his home. Just as Natori taught his followers not to fight a superior force head-on, Sakai Jin alone had to fight an entire army using these techniques. Just as legends of the ninja and the supernatural power spread, in the game, so did the legend of a vengeful spirit from the dead. While effective at achieving his goals of reclaiming Tsushima, embarrassing the Mongol fleet, and giving hope to the residents, it did come at a price. Because of Jin's rising legend as more of an assassin than a samurai lord, he threatened the supremacy of the shogunate, the government structure. While we do not see the shogun's face, which is symbolic on its own, he hears of a samurai stabbing enemies in the back and other breaks from the Bushido code.
The castle is yours. The Khan marches north. We can head him off.
You defied me!
I did what I had to. For them.
Is this how you want to be remembered?
He defended us!
By spreading fear and chaos!
We are at war.
And you are acting like the enemy. This is not our way.
Your way can't save our people.
The Shogun will demand a head. But it does not have to be yours. I know she drove you to this.
Uncle.
Renounce the ghost. You must blame her for this outrage. Tell them you are Jin Shimura, loyal servant to the Shogun. My heir. My son.
I am not your son. I am the ghost.
Therefore, for the sake of government order, he must be brought to justice. What the Shogun saw in Jin was either he dies a hero or lives long enough to become a villain. It was after playing this game the quote from The Dark Knight made sense to me. Batman, the Dark Knight, like Jin, operated outside the government system, and because he was outside of this government system, he had more freedom to do what had to be done. But that same token, he became a threat to the established order, as people increasingly admired the Batman. How, you might ask? Because you cannot build a society around a vigilante. By definition, a vigilante is one that enacts justice on his or her own terms. So, if that's true, why can't everyone enact their own justice? That would lead to complete anarchy, where the strong subjugate the weak. The premise of Law and Order is that we surrender some of our autonomy, such as the natural right to revenge, so that we have rules that we all follow, and allow government to dispense justice. And that idea completely contradicts what both the Dark Knight and the Ghost, Kurodo, represent. This is also the story of Robin Hood. He is the justice of the common people, but in the end, he must retreat to Sherwood Forest, the Batcave, and the wilderness of Tsushima, to be called upon again when he is needed.
Because he's not our hero. He's a silent guardian, a watchful protector, a dark knight.
So then, dear viewer, I pass the question on to you. If you consider yourself revolutionary, or admire those who are considered revolutionaries today, do you really know what you're doing? Did they know what they were doing? Say you upset the power structure as it is, do you know what's going to come right after it? You usurp the powers that be and the powers that are for some revolution of some sorts, or doing what needs to be done, fair enough. But can you guarantee what comes after you is not going to be even worse? Chances are, the answer to that question is no. Ghost of Tsushima is one of the best games I've ever played in my life, and it was a pleasure for me to be able to talk it with you today. And if I've earned your subscription, please do so below, and like the video. That's all for today. This has been IronBriggz Gaming. Stay beautiful, and I'll see you all in the next video.